afraid, I'm not afraid to take a stand, take a stand. Everybody, everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together through the storm, whatever weather, cold or warm. Just letting you know that you're not alone.
You're listening to America Off the Rails with Double R, right here on the Common Ground Media Network.
Well, good morning, folks, and happy Monday. Show got a later start than usual. Do apologize. I've been trying to sort something out. For some reason, my microphone's got a big squeal today, and I can't seem to get it tracked down. So I hope it's not translating over to you guys. I apologize if it is. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and do what I normally do. We're going to get kicked off with a little bit of music to give me time to figure out where I put my coffee cup, for one, and for two, help me get settled in. So we will be right back.
yourself and ride your camel out of here. You're listening to Lyric Off the Rails with Double R, right here on Common Ground Radio.
Alright folks, and we're back. I think I tracked down the echo squealy sound that I've had going on. Yeah. Okay, before we get started, since I don't have a commercial for this gentleman yet, the shout out for this half hour as far as sponsorship goes to 101solutions.net. Some of you may know this gentleman. His name's JT. He also runs a radio station. He has a channel over here on Spreaker, hot101fm.net. That liner you just heard was put together by him. Very reasonable rates. Also, he and I have been friends for a very long time. I'm trying to coax him into doing a project with me. So if any of you happen to listen to his show or are on his Facebook page, start sending him messages. Because what I'm trying to get him to do with me, I used to sing a little back in the day. I'm not great, but I'm a little bit better than some of the other folks in the radio talk realm that have been putting stuff out lately, and their fans seem to eat it up anyway. So I've been trying to convince him to do a cover with me of an old Linkin Park song, because he can put a lyric together like nobody else's business, and I can sing pretty well. So I'm trying to talk him into letting me do the singing part, and he does the rapping part. And of course, I mean, it's an older cover, but you know, it'd be interesting and fun, and he and I haven't done anything studio-wise in forever, so I think it would be cool. I think he's almost on board, but I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, if you are new to the radio game and want some help as far as getting things going, like liners, stingers, things like that, hit up 101solutions.net. There is also a service that is available through Spreaker as well, so I mean, you can use either one. This guy just happens to be a friend of mine and does really good work, so if you need any help with anything like that, go hit him up. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let me do something real quick, because now that all you nice ladies and gentlemen is hanging out with me, you're not getting out. Just kidding. But yeah, if you've been watching the news lately at all, according to the mainstream media, there's a government shutdown going on, and it's all the Republicans' fault. So we have a bunch of liberals running around TV, radio, and Facebook, all kind of sounding a lot like this. I mean, they're all doing the whole "the sky is falling and it's the Republicans' fault." I've got news for you, folks. There have been a lot of government shutdowns. A lot of government shutdowns. If you haven't yet, you should go look them up. None of them have ever been this nasty. The House may have been the one to basically get the shutdown started. It's the executive branch that decides how the shutdown is administered. Look at some of the things they're doing. They have run people out of private residences that are on or near government property. They have closed down museums and parks that are on government property but are not run by the government and not funded by the government. These people are actually paying the government money every month to run their businesses on government property, and they are shutting them down. What the hell kind of sense does that make? I mean, come on, let's start looking at this logically for a second. Start looking at all the different pieces here. You've got parks that have never been policed or manned before. They're the open air parks, you know, the monuments in DC, those kind of things. Other than, you know, standard police patrols, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. There's no restriction there. You walk around whenever you want, and you're just there. Now all of a sudden those are closed, and you guys had to do that on days when you knew there were going to be honor flights there from World War II vets that were probably never going to be able to see those damn memorials ever again, and you had to pick that day to pull this crap? And then you and Harry Reid and everyone else, Mr. Obama, have the nerve to sit there and blame Republicans when it's your division, your part of the government, that decides how that shutdown is administered. You've shut down part of the ocean, for God's sake. How is that even possible? oh, well, because of government shutdown, this particular part of the ocean in Florida, yeah, you guys can't fish there any longer until this is over. Seriously? Are you kidding me? I mean, I just don't get it anymore, people. We have so many different opinions in this country any longer, and everything is so completely polarized. But it's just like, wherever you get your news from, that's the only thing that you believe. I've been looking at every single possible angle from this, and none of this makes any sense. I'm not even completely behind the shutdown. There are other ways it could have gotten done, but for God's sake, all you liberals out there that are like, oh, the Republicans just want people to do this and the people to do that. Have you not seen what the Republicans have been trying to make sure that gets funded again? Because I have. I've been paying attention. Who cares if they're trying to do it piecemeal while they negotiate? They're trying to get things put back into place, like the funding for the experimental cancer medications that a lot of kids are on. And you know what Harry Reid says? Oh, we don't care. I have hundreds of people on Air Force bases right now that can't go to work, so why should I worry about a few cancer patients? And nobody says a flippin' word. If that had been a conservative who said that, oh my God, the world would have come to an end. Conservative so-and-so says cancer patients should die. Chris Matthews, not only would he have another tingle down his leg, he'd be so excited he'd be pissing all over his chair if that had been a conservative who said that. This is such a messed up situation. And the worst part about it is, the media is just right along for the ride. That's the scariest part about all of this. The media is just like, oh, follow Obama, do what Obama says, gotta put a positive spin on everything. How are you going to spin this? How in the world can you possibly spin this as a positive when they're trying to barricade World War II veterans from being able to go into an open-air monument that never in the history of our country has been closed before, even during a shutdown? Never! Not one time! Sorry. If you haven't noticed, I'm a bit angry about this situation because I'm so tired of Facebook. I have liberal friends on my Facebook page who every 5 minutes are like, oh, stupid Republicans, shut down the government, wanted to do this, wanted to do that, needed to do this. Sorry, I got a pop-up, so I don't know if you heard that last little bit. But anyway, I don't understand it anymore, people. So this is my lesson for the day. For those of you who are sitting here wringing your hands going, I don't know what to do, I don't have any idea what I should do, what I shouldn't do, here's my suggestion. And it's something that I put on the Facebook page yesterday, which I'm going to start plugging here a little bit more. It's called, it's basically named after this show. This show is America Off the Rails. The Facebook page is actually America is Coming Off the Rails. On the show, I kind of take more of the perspective of we're already there, because in reality, we pretty much are. On the page, it's more of a how do we keep from getting there. So it's kind of two angles of the same situation. So it's but it's under the same address. It's www.facebook.com/America Off the Rails. The page itself is actually called America is Coming Off the Rails. The show again takes a little bit of a different tack, because as far as I'm concerned, we're pretty much already there. We're dealing with two parties that have basically become the flip side of the same coin. And I've said that before, but I'm going to go ahead and finish it in case anybody new is listening. And that is basically, when you have a quarter in your hand, whether you're looking at the head or you're looking at the tail, whichever side you're seeing, it's still part of a quarter. But anyway, bear with me for just a moment. Apparently, it's time for me to take a break.
Far as I can go.
Giving the Obama administration the big ones up, right from the middle finger. Common Ground Radio with Double R.
Alright folks, some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Double R, the founder here at Common Ground Media Group, And we have two different channels running. We have Common Ground Media Group Oklahoma over on Blog Talk Radio, and we have Common Ground Radio Oklahoma on Spreaker. Now, Common Ground Radio Oklahoma is a startup. We've been on BTR now since February, but we've decided we want some more airtime and some more flexibility. So for now, mine is one of the only shows that's going to be found over there. I'm going to go ahead and just give you our lineup in order and let you know a few things that are going on behind the scenes. Sundays, over on the BTR channel, we have The Outer Limits, hosted by Steve Long, one of the only libertarian radio hosts that I'm aware of, at least from the amateur angle, and you can catch him every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. He does normally have some pretty good live guests on there. Even had a recent gubernatorial candidate on, so if you haven't checked that one out, you may want to go back and hit up our archive shows available on the Blog Talk channel and get caught up. And then we have Monday, my show, which is located over on Spreaker, America Off the Rails. That is, of course, hosted by yours truly. That's basically my conservative show where I rant and complain and vent, and it helps with my sanity, and I hope you guys like it too. And if not, I'm going to still keep doing it anyway, because like I said, it does help with my sanity. And then we have the show on Tuesday, which is Finding Common Ground. That is featuring myself and Dave, and that is, again, located over on the Blog Talk channel. That typically starts between 8 and 8:30, and it's basically where a cranky conservative, yours truly, and a hacked-off Jeffersonian liberal, my buddy Dave, get together and try to talk about current events and see about setting some differences aside to see if maybe we can find a way to fix this crazy mess we all find ourselves in right now. Then we have Wednesday, The Family Factor, hosted by Denny C. That is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., again, over on the Blog Talk channel. Now, Denny does have some things in the works that he's going to be bringing over to the Spreaker channel. Different formats than The Family Factor. We're still ironing some of that stuff out. Then on Thursday, we have On the Fringes. That is Dave's music show, where basically he plays alternative music, alternate country, indie, pop, all that fun stuff. It's a really great show. Different kind of audience than most of the ones that we bring in, so it's nice to have a little bit of variety. Speaking of variety, we'll get to that in a minute. On Friday, we have the Red Shirt Friday show featuring the Common Ground crew. Normally that's me and Dave and maybe some of the other admins hanging out, just having a little bit of fun from our Common Ground political page over on Facebook. Try to get a few of them involved here and there when we can, at least on Fridays. And then on Saturday, we have a new show hitting the lineup that's all about wrestling. You guys will find more out about that. The first airing will be tomorrow at the time that I record this first commercial for the network that I've done in a while. And that pretty much concludes our lineup for now. Thanks to everybody who's been tuning in and checking us out. We hope you like us over on BTR, and we hope to make lots of new friends over on Spreaker. As we bring more shows in, of course, I will let you know.
You're listening to America Off the Rails with Double R, right here on the Common Ground Media Network.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high.
Alright, and we are back. Apologies for that little impromptu break there. Joys of being a one-man show. Sometimes you realize you forget to do something, and you're on the air when you find it out. Okay, so, a couple of things. The wrestling show that is now airing on Saturdays is called Around the Ring. It is typically hosted by Dave, Steve, and Mandy, and happens every Saturday, usually around 10 o'clock. I promise the next couple of days I will get around to recording a more current commercial. The interesting thing about trying to do commercials for my network is we're so new and we're adding so many different things all the time that every time I record a commercial it usually goes for a couple of days and then it's out of date again. But I guess I could have worse things to complain about, huh? Speaking of new things, my buddy Dave is actually thinking about trying out his On the Fringes show over here today. Again, that is going to be kind of an alternative music show, but we have such a solid following building up over here just from my little show that I'm trying to convince a lot of the folks that do solo shows over on BTR to, even if they don't just move them over here, to occasionally do one or two a week or even a month over here, just to expose folks to the stuff that we're doing over on BTR. Because, again, I've noticed it seems like the two platforms are pretty much mutually exclusive. I'm not sure what's up with that. I don't know if maybe BTR is like the old folks' home of talk radio, and this is the new generation, or... And I don't mean that insulting in either way to either platform, because BTR has been pretty good to us. I like some of the things that you can do over there that you can't do over here. Like, I keep reading in the forums over here that at some point they're going to have dial-in numbers for guests, and that it's coming soon. I have to tell you, if that feature was available to the point where I could have more than one host be able to hear... Because, I mean, here's the thing, they tell you in the tutorials that you can have a host with you, which is true, because you can basically go through some stages to set a few things up, whether you have a mixed board or not, and you can have someone else who broadcasts on the air with you, whether it be a co-host or a guest, which sounds great, especially from a guest perspective. But Dave and I did a test show over here, and we don't currently have a physical studio, so he does... the shows that we do together in his little studio in his house, and I have a little studio in my house, and basically we kind of virtually come together. Well, on BTR, because we are dialing in, whether it be Skype related or telephone related, to a central server, even if he's not in the studio with me, as far as, the virtual studio for the controls, any type of effects or anything that I play, he can hear. That doesn't happen here. So, we kind of consider BTR our virtual studio, because it allows us to interact as if we were both in the same place, even though we're not. Whereas with this particular platform, it's basically like having a Skype phone call conversation, and somebody can play some sound effects, but only the person who's actually using and controlling the studio can hear them. So... a little disappointed in that aspect, but again, there are several different things that I do like much better here than I like over there. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where, for now, $20 a month over here, $40 a month over there, especially since we are making a little bit of money off the stuff over there, is better than paying $150 to $200 a month for a small studio someplace. So, I guess it's all about perspectives. Anyway, kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there. I do apologize. The main thing I wanted to bring up is, if you've liked this show so far, at some point later today, hopefully you will be able to hear the first episode of On the Fringes over here on Spreaker. Make sure you give that one a listen, and I'm sure all of you loyal followers will notice when it comes out. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, my little tirade. Yeah, trust me, folks, that one's not over yet. This one's been building probably since last Tuesday, when the government shut down the first time. I mean, shut down the first time, I mean originally. Because, let's face it, the media has been doing an entire spin game on this entire situation, and it's flippin' retarded. There is enough blame to go around to everyone. But there are also some things that I didn't know until I started looking into it. Like this whole thing that's going on with the debt ceiling. That's the next big looming crisis that we have. Do you realize that the House of Representatives has voted dozens of times to pass a resolution that would require them to make sure that the first percentages of tax monies brought in every day at a certain percentage level would be spent towards paying down the national debt? Which means we wouldn't have a debt ceiling crisis right now, if not for the fact that that particular policy keeps being rejected from the democratically controlled Senate. So let's look at something from a logical perspective for a second. I'm going to push my anger all back down in its nice little hidey hole, and we're going to look at something logically for a second. We have a shutdown where things that have been going on, that are going on, have never happened before. We have open air monuments that have been closed down. We have parts of the ocean that have been being restricted. We have parks that are actually paying the government money that are being shut down. We have people that are being removed from their homes because their homes are attached to government access roads that are being closed down to keep people from being able to get to particular parks or museums or whatever the hell else the case may be. Not only this, But we have one part of the government who's been repeatedly saying, look, if we pass this resolution, we can take X amount of the money that we bring in every day, and by Obama's own admission, thanks to the new tax levies that he has going on, we have record amounts of money coming into the Treasury every day, thanks to the fact that he let taxes expire or whatever else. So why can we not pass a resolution to put some of that money every day towards the debt? Why, again, just like sequestration, is Obama trying to make this situation as painful as possible on the American public? Why, again, is the party of compassion? You know, that's what the Democrats are. The Democratic Party, as far as anyone else is concerned, is the party that cares about the little guy. The Republicans only give a crap about the rich people. The Democrats are the ones for me because I'm the broke little guy sitting in the corner. I call BS. Because of, again, that nice little statement by Mr. Harry Reid in regards to funding the NIH. When he basically said, why should I do this? They shouldn't be able to pick and choose what part of the government gets funded. Really? Last I checked, that's part of their flippin' job description, you moron. They're the ones that are in charge of the purse strings. So they get to decide what gets funded and what does not get funded. Unlike our executive branch current leader, who's basically breaking every single law he can find by enacting his own personal piece of legislation that he has adopted the name that was given to it and turned it from a negative to a positive and basically doling it out in pieces as he sees fit. And you want to talk to me about the things that the Republicans are doing that are supposedly not allowed? Are you really this dense and moronic? I'm telling you, dude, at this point, you just need to retire, go find a nice little rocking chair, wrap a blanket around yourself, and sip on some coffee, because apparently you've lost touch with reality. The House of Representatives controls the budgeting for the entire government. That is their job description. So yes, sir, in actuality, they can decide, or should be able to decide, what gets funded and what does not get funded. It is up to you as to whether or not you choose to agree with them. So again, Mr. Reid, I ask you, who is the one who is actually responsible for the shutdown right now? Because it is not Mr. Boehner. It is your party holding our entire way of life hostage to ram a freaking socialist medicine system down our throats that nobody wants. And you have the nerve, the gall, the unmitigated balls to stand on the air in front of the world and tell them the Republicans refuse to negotiate. They have sent continuing resolution after continuing resolution after continuing resolution to your side of the freaking halls of Congress, and you've turned down every single one of them. And they're the ones who don't want to negotiate? They've gone from completely defunding Obamacare to, hey, let's slow it down a little bit. You know, maybe restrict it a little till we figure out what's going on, to, hey, why don't you just give the American people the same type of waivers that you've been giving to big business? And you've given them the finger every single time. Every time. And again, you have the nerve to stand on national TV and tell the world that the conservative side of the Congress is the one who refuses to negotiate with you. They've done nothing but try to negotiate. Obama, right after he was elected and sworn in, had a nice... Actually, I think it was even before he was sworn in. Had a nice little meeting with the... No, I guess it was probably after the midterm elections. Had a nice little meeting with the new majority over in the House of Representatives, where he basically, behind closed doors, told them, you know what, elections have consequences and I won, and I'm going to get what I want. This is the same guy who stood in front of the world and told them that he was going to reach across the aisle like none had ever done before him and work with them to get things resolved. He hasn't worked with a single person ever. I don't even think he knows how. I mean, seriously. Has anybody else been paying attention to any of this? Because let me tell you what I think. You can quote me on it if you want. I don't know if it's true. This is just me putting together puzzle pieces, and this is the direction that they're kind of coming together for me. Not only do I think Obama wanted the shutdown, case in point would be a high-ranking White House official who said, we honestly don't care how long the shutdown goes on because we're winning, and the only thing that matters is the end result. So I personally think Obama wanted the shutdown. Not only do I think Obama wanted the shutdown, I think honestly he wants us to default. If he can push us over the fiscal cliff, to use a term that everybody used the last time this was going to happen, he's going to ensure, most likely, because there just aren't enough people paying attention, that the Democrats retain control of both houses and the presidency for probably the next 50 to 60 years. Because the sycophantic media will sit back and beat the drum, screaming the Republicans are the ones that made this happen, when in all reality, it's been his party orchestrating it all along. And if you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. There have been resolutions passed in the House over and over and over again to take X amount of these record tax dollars that we've been bringing in and pay them towards the national debt every single day. And they keep being told no. So, you tell me, who really wants the shutdown and why? Because it's not the Republicans. The Republicans have been sitting there over and over again. We don't want the government shut down. We're just standing up for the majority of Americans who keep telling us we don't want Obamacare. And here's the funny thing. I run several Facebook pages. The one that I'm most involved with right now is the one that's tied to this particular show. However, there is another one. It's called... It's the one that started this, which is actually part of where the company name came from for the radio station and the media group that we run, which is Common Ground Media Group and Common Ground Radio Oklahoma. So there is another Facebook page, and it's actually just called Common Ground. To make it easier to find on Facebook, it's www.facebook.com, Common Ground Political Page. I haven't been spending much time on that one lately because I've been working behind the scenes to actually try to finish building up all these little puzzle pieces that have been laying on the table, and I really haven't had time to organize them. So I've been spending more time building the Spreaker network, the BTR network, and the Facebook page named after this particular show, and getting things organized to get a website put together, working on filings, things like that. But I guess probably at this point you guys really don't care about any of that. Anyway, so what I was saying was, one of the things that I find most interesting is I run one of the only Facebook pages I've ever seen that has basically admins from every political stripe. I'm not on there as much as I used to be, but at one time we had a classic liberal, which is Dave, more JFK style, not the whole everything needs to be socialized liberal. We have a modern liberal, that would be Rachel. She is more of a socialism is the way to go and capitalism is evil kind of girl. We don't get along very well. I try. I really do. But she's young, and I get it, and she's idealistic, and she's stubborn, which is great. But the problem is, I'm old and cranky and stubborn. So when she starts spouting crap that really makes me angry, I just latch on like a pit bull and start firing back. So that's one of the reasons why I've been kind of giving that page a little bit of a berth. It seems our wider berth. It seems like they have smoother discussions when my cranky butt isn't on there, because I take things a little more personally than I should. In case you hadn't noticed from the screaming session from the last half hour. But yeah. So anyway, then we have Amanda, who is our classic Republican. We have Otter, a.k.a. Steve, who is one of our radio show hosts. He's the one that does the show on Sundays. And he's also our libertarian. And I, of course, am the Tea Party guy. Although, as this has gone on for the last couple of years, I kind of find myself siding... I don't know, I guess the easiest thing to classify me as would be a Tea-Libertarian. Because there's things the Tea Party stands for that I love, and there's things the Libertarian Party stands for that I love too. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned at this point, libertarian's probably going to be about the only way to go to actually get this country anywhere near back what it was originally founded as. Because there are way too many things that the conservatives want to control, the true conservatives, and there are way too many things that the liberals want to control. The conservatives want to basically keep your money and basically tell you what you can do as far as morality and everything else, which I get. Trust me, I'm a Christian. I understand the whole, you should do the right thing and you should not do these things. But let's face it, we all fail. We all suck as people, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. There are times we think things that we shouldn't, and there are times that we do things that we shouldn't. So standing on a soapbox and telling everybody you should do things exactly like this and only like this, that's retarded. It really is. It's not my business to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do about abortion, unless, of course, it directly relates to me or my family. I don't believe in abortion. I personally believe abortion is murder, but does that mean that I think the person down the street should be stoned to death because they had an abortion? No. It means that at some point, if what I believe is correct, they're going to have to stand before God the Creator and explain to Him why they decided to destroy a gift that He had given them. And to me, that's worse than anything that you could do to them here. Because if what I believe to be true is true, even if you have repented, you're still at some point going to have to stand before God the judge. And the only thing that's really going to be different is when He brings up what you've done. If you have accepted Christ, then Jesus is going to be standing at the right hand of the Father and say, yes, Father, this is true, but He's accepted me. At least from the way I understand it, and granted, that's limited understanding, so it may not happen at all like that way, but I kind of envision the whole Judgment Day thing to be kind of like a courtroom. Only because that's kind of the language that's used, because Jesus talks about being our advocate and our defender and things like that in certain parts. So, but anyway, in case you guys haven't listened to a show before, I am an preacher as well, so I do occasionally kind of go a little off on tangents in that regard. But yeah, so anyway. I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and play another song for a second, because we have reached about the third way through, a little bit over for the show, so I think we're going to take another little break. I apologize for that first one, by the way. I read it wrong. I thought it said Big Brother Acoustic, not Big Brother Instrumental, and since I was trying to track down an issue with my microphone, I just went ahead and let it play. Anyway, we will be right back, folks.
Watching us frown. Are they laughing at me now? And are they happy with me now? Tiny giant ants underground, carried in tons, they'll wait for winter. They don't care about us up here. Wish we'd just walk around. The city's underground. Houses around. So why even bother with the world of tomorrow? trapped inside. It's not a big deal in the scheme of things. So why even bother with the world of tomorrow? And why even bother with the world of tomorrow? Just to be alive in my own trial, a scapegoat of prisoner, a perfect example to you. Why even bother?
Giving the Obama administration the big ones up, right from the middle finger. Common Ground Radio with Double R.
Yeah, folks, it says it, and I mean it. Been looking through some things, and I have to admit I'm getting more and more angry as I look through them. Like the fact that apparently the government shutdown has shut down the Amber Alert system. Again, for those of you wanting to blame Republicans, it's not them who decides what gets shut down or how. They're just the ones holding the purse strings. How it gets administered is up to the administration itself. Now, here's the interesting thing. Two interesting things about that. One, the Amber Alert system has been shut down. Two, Michelle Obama's Twitter account is no longer active. Last I checked, that was a free service. So basically, for anyone who's not paying attention, this means that not only was the FLOTUS paying someone to run her Twitter account, she was using our money to pay someone to run her Twitter account. When last I checked, they've got pretty hefty bank balances themselves. That's number one. Let that sink in for just a second. Really. Stop and think about that for a second. Number one, Twitter is a free service. They don't charge you anything to use Twitter. But you can pay people to ghost your Twitter. It's kind of like a ghostwriter. You know, you give them an idea, they consult with you, they help you flesh it out, they make sure your language is good, all that fun stuff. Yeah, she's paying a ghostwriter for her Twitter account because apparently she doesn't have the time to come up with quips of 140 characters or less. Are you kidding me? I have an idea. Well, no, that won't work. I was going to say, you know what, Mrs. Obama, when the shutdown's over, I'll gladly run your Twitter account for you and probably only charge you half of whatever you're paying this person, because I guarantee you it ain't cheap if you're not willing to pay for it out of your own damn pocket. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, not only is the, again, Amber Alert, the whole, child missing, sends out text messages, puts information up on digital billboards, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Yeah, that system's shut down thanks to the government shutdown. Guess what's still running? Michelle Obama's website. Yeah, that's still running. Yeah, hang on. Let me grab the name of that for you, just in case you want to go leave them a nice little message, because I honestly, at this point, don't remember what it's called. But hang on a second, and I can grab it for you. I ain't got nothing but time on my hands. I don't know about you guys. So give me just 1 second here. Well, that's weird. I just had this page open, and now it looks entirely different than it did the last time. I don't think I'm in the right place. And Unless this is like a secret Drudge Report that I didn't know about. Because there's another one that looks a lot different than this one. So yeah, sorry, I didn't think this was going to take that long. Apparently I clicked it on the wrong link. Either that or there is one that may be less data intensive. Yeah, the website is called Let's Move, and it's run by Miss Michelle Obama. That particular website is still up, but they've shut down the Amber Alert website. Yeah, let those two things just sink in for a second. Like I said, I got time. Think for a second about what's going on here. And then ask yourselves, who's really to blame and why? Because I gotta tell you, folks, there's been things that I've been finding out since I've been doing these shows a little more often. I'm starting to, because honestly, I'm a little nobody in Oklahoma. I started this stuff, basically started out as Facebook pages, because I got tired of being angry all the time and not really having an outlet for it, and feeling like not enough people were paying attention. So it all started as a Facebook thing, and then I got this bright idea, because the Facebook page started getting popular. I was like, hey, we could probably do podcasts for this. And I had no idea things like Spreaker and BTR even existed. And thanks to my cousin, who was helping us produce things for a while, until he got busy doing his own stuff, we basically got everything started. And we've been, again, on BTR since February. If you like what we're doing over here, you really may want to go over there, only because you're going to have a lot more content over there than you currently have over here. Again, that is changing, because I've discovered I, for one, personally really like this platform as far as for solo shows go. I don't like the fact that folks can't call in, which is a nice feature over there. But that's something that we can address as we continue to grow, because at some point I will have a studio where we can come in and do work and tie in a phone number and all that other fun stuff. But for now, that's not that important, because I got lots to say, and instead of taking callers, I can play an occasional song here and there, and just won't be able to submit to iHeart Talk until I can get it all sorted out. Or until I can decide I don't suck enough. But anyway, yeah, now that that's all sunk in for a second, wondering if you are coming to the same conclusions I am. Because again, as I was saying for a second, I'm starting to develop some contacts, and I'm hearing things that I've never heard before. I mean, some of it I'm finding out through other Facebook pages, some of it I'm finding out through low-level rumblings here and there. Like, one of the most entertaining things I found, which I was able to verify later, is apparently Mr. Putin, the whole leader of Russia, had made an off-the-record comment that was picked up that, as far as he was concerned, trying to negotiate with Obama was a lot like playing chess with a pigeon. The pigeon struts all over the board with its chest puffed out, knocks all over all the pieces while crapping on the board, and by the time it's all over, thinks it's won the game. I have a feeling a lot of folks in our government right now probably share that same sentiment, because anytime they ever try to get him to compromise on anything, it's my way or the highway. Now again, here's the really crazy messed up thing about all that. The really, 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 really crazy messed up thing about all that. When Obama was a senator... Actually, you know what? Hang on, I think I have that clip. Why have me tell you when I can have him tell you? One moment, please. Yeah, hang on a second. I can find that real quick. I knew I had it in my library. Sorry, sometimes I forget how I have things stored in here, so I have to go look to see how I have them saved in the library, and then I can track them down. So give me just one moment here, and I will get this queued up. So while we're waiting, how's everybody out in Radio Land today? Just kidding. Let's see. So yeah, just to make sure that you're actually hearing it from him and not from me, since this debt ceiling thing is about to be the next thing that's going to blow up, let's hear Mr. Obama then and now on the debt ceiling situation, shall we? That should be a little entertaining, I would think.
Congress is doing right now is important. Unfortunately, right now the debate that's going on in Congress is not meeting the test of helping middle-class families. It's just they're not focused on you. They're focused on politics. They're focused on trying to mess with me. If Congress doesn't pass this debt ceiling...
You ever notice, folks, how he always tries to make everything about himself? Just had to throw that out there.
On its obligations. That's never happened in American history. Basically, America becomes a deadbeat.
Okay, guys, I've got to go vote. We are voting on the budget today. It's a sad state of affairs. We just voted to increase the debt limit. The U.S. total debt at this point exceeds $8 trillion. That's 8 trillion with a T. So we've got to get our fiscal house in order here in Washington. I'm not sure it's going to happen under the current leadership in Congress.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that first clip was now President Obama railing against Congress for not wanting to raise the debt limit. That second clip, Senator Obama railing against the administration that he was not a part of at that time for wanting to raise the debt limit while bemoaning the $8 trillion in debt we were at that time. Mr. Obama, have you bothered to look at the current debt level under your administration? Because you know what? I've said it before and I'll say it again. I get it. I've gone from being the little guy involved in a situation and thinking one thing to becoming the guy running the whole thing and going, holy crap, this is a lot different than I thought it was going to be. But, you know, at some point you probably should have, when you decided to change tax and be like, look, this is really important, you probably should have been upfront with the American people and just told them, you know, I made lots of statements when I was a senator, when it was my turn to make these kind of votes, that I didn't think it was a good idea, and I thought it was terrible, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But let me tell you, folks, things are a lot different when you're in this chair. So I'd like to apologize for all that stuff that I said, and please ask for everyone to put their differences aside and make sure that the country doesn't fall on its face. See, because that's what a leader does. When you're dumb enough to say stupid crap that everybody can hear, when you're not a leader of people, and then suddenly you become a leader of people, instead of coming off like a complete hypocrite, most people with an ounce of decency would come out and say, look, I know a lot of you folks have heard me say this, and this while I was a senator, and I honestly believed that at the time, but now that I'm in this office, and I have to sit in this chair, and it's now my responsibility, there are things that I understand now that I didn't understand before. So this is why this needs to happen. Not sit there and be like, Republicans just hate me. They're out to get me. They don't want anything that I want, so they're going to try to make me look bad. You sound like a flippin' 5-year-old. Be a man. Stand up and say, look, I know what I said when I was a senator, but I'm president now, and there were things that I didn't understand. So can we please put the bickering aside and make sure that this happens? But here's the thing about that. He doesn't really want it to happen. Because if he did, the resolution after resolution after resolution that was being tried to be put through the House of Representatives to pay the tax money that we have coming in now, thanks to all these new taxes, going to the actual debt itself and paying some of it down a little bit at a time every day, which is what a household would do. No, he doesn't want any of that to happen. He just wants to be able to continue to raise the debt ceiling, continue to print more money, continue to spend more money that we don't have. I mean, that's the thing that infuriates me about this government shutdown. At this point, he's paying more to enforce the shutdown than probably we were losing if we would have stayed open. Because of all the stupid ways he's found to decide to try to make it as painful as possible to the American people to enforce this damn shutdown in the first place. And all the Democrats and the liberals are blindly standing behind the guy going, yeah, it's all the Republicans' fault. They're a bunch of jackasses. Blame the Tea Party. The Tea Party are anarchists. The Tea Party don't want government at all. The Tea Party's retarded. I got news for you, folks. If it wasn't for the flippin' Tea Party, we'd probably all be wearing gray jumpsuits by now, driving box cars and living in little box houses and have government-assigned health care. Because if it wasn't for the few folks in Congress that are standing up going, okay, we've gone this far, we didn't like coming this far, and by God, we have come this far, but we will go no further. Because of those people, we still have a fighting chance to turn this country around. And that's what I'm trying to tell you people today. Instead of sitting at home and being afraid and not knowing what to do, everybody's good at something. Find a way to get involved. Start at your local level. Do something, anything. Fundraise for the folks that you're behind. Make phone calls. Use your Facebook page as a platform for the folks that you're behind. If it's really something you believe in, it's time to get off the sidelines, folks. There isn't much time left. We are watching the waning days of this country if something does not change. At least as far as in the way that we know it. They're coming after the Second Amendment. They're coming after the First Amendment. They're trying to get complete control over health care. Whether anybody wants to admit it or not, that's what this is. This is a framework to have complete government control of health care within the next 30 to 40 years. Granted, it's probably going to be a slow transition, but it's going to happen if we do not stand up now. And by no means, by stand up, am I saying at this point, I'm saying everybody should grab a gun and do something. So nobody needs to read anything into that, because that's not what I'm doing. Alright, bear with me for just a moment.
And I can't see from the outside in. And we may never know how the story goes. And I don't know the path I take to get to you. And I don't know the path I take to get to you. I don't know the path I take to get to you, get to you. Invincible, we are. Invincible, think we are, think we are. the path I take to get to you. I don't know the path I take to get to you. Get to you. I don't know the path I take to get to you. I don't know the path I take to get to you. I don't know the path I take to get to you. Get to you. That's the path I take to get to you. We all know the path I take to get to you. And that's the path I take to get to you. Think we all know the path I take to get to you. Get to you.
We were made to be courageous. We were made to lead the way. We could be the generation that finally breaks the chains. We were
Giving the Obama administration the big ones up, right from the middle finger. Common Ground Radio with Double R.
Hey folks, I don't know about you, but I always feel like there just isn't enough time in the day. You know, one of those not enough hours in the day kind of things. But, you know, working full time, raising a family, trying to start a company, I'm sure some of you can relate. So, what can we do about it, I guess is my question. Short of hijacking Doc Brown and having him show you the secrets to the DeLorean, what if I told you there was a way where we could get you more energy for the hours that you had in your day instead of worrying about finding more time in your day? Anyway, I found the information through my independent Beachbody life coach, Miss Sherry Britt. You can find her information online at www.beachbody.com/SherryBritt1. Basically, I have to tell you, folks, I haven't been doing it for very long, but it's working. It's one of those commitment kind of things. I'm using a program called Shakeology. Basically, it's a meal replacement. Think Slim Fast, but better. And also, I have one of Sean T's workout videos. We're doing T25 right now. Started that a couple of days ago. Have to admit, I'm old, I'm fat, and it's painful, but I feel better. Alright folks, and we're back. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. That commercial for some reason is playing really low today. Not sure at all. But anyway, at this point, let's see. Honestly, I kind of forgot where I was. I got distracted. Had a lot going on personally. Not that you guys care, but I took that break because my significant other called in. I was trying to make sure that everything was okay because we've had a lot going on. But anyway, you know what? At this point, I think I'm actually going to kill it for today. I've ranted enough. Normally, I try to do at least an hour and a half. I'm trying to actually start pushing it longer, but there's been some behind-the-scenes work that I've been doing for some upcoming shows over on BTR, and that's kind of been time-consuming. And I know Dave is wanting to do a show for On the Fringes today, so the sooner I get off the air, the sooner he can get started. And I've covered almost everything I really wanted to cover. Again, just as a kind of a friendly nudge, if you are like I was about this time 2 years ago, or no, I guess about a year ago, a little over. Well, I guess it's getting closer to 2 years now. And you're not sure what to do, find ways to get involved. There's always places you can step up. Like I said, everybody's good at something. Even if you're just good at, networking or people skills or whatever. You can find ways to use those in your spare time to help with the things that you believe in. We have way too many people in this country now that have decided to leave it up to the government to take care of them and leave it up to the elected officials to do the things that need to get done. And the bottom line is, except for a select few, the only thing that most of them seem to be worried about any longer is the next fundraiser and their next election bid. So, if you are, like I am, afraid for the future of this nation, it's time for you to get off the couch. There are ways to get involved. Facebook is a great starter because it lets you get your feet under you. At this point, I am actually starting a company where we're going to have media outlets that are not right-left centric. It's one of the reasons why it's called Common Ground Media Group. We're going to have right publications, left publications, but then we're also going to have areas where we review those right publications and left publications and try to find places in the middle. Because that's where the truth is, folks. That's what nobody wants you to understand anymore. There are ways to make this country work. One of them, actually the only one, to a point, is compromise in certain situations. But not in a situation like Obamacare. Anyway, folks, it has been my pleasure hanging out with you for a little bit over the last hour. I'm going to go ahead and take us out the same way I took us in. We'll be back next Monday, and hopefully by then a lot of the behind-the-scenes work that I need to have done will not be taking up so much of my time, because if possible, I'd like to start trying to use a little bit more of this potential airtime that we have, because we can do up to 3 hours at a time here. But again, this is Double R. You have been listening to America Off the Rails, and we will be back next Monday.
I'm not afraid to take a stand, take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together through the storm, whatever weather, cold or warm. Just letting you know that you're not alone.
You're listening to America Off the Rails with Double R right here on the Common Ground Media Network.